Good morning. This is Attorney Vincent Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. And I'm joined this morning by a very special guest, Miss Melanie Hudson. Hello, Miss Hudson. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. Where are you coming to us from?
Brattleboro, Vermont.
Vermont. Wow. I don't think I've ever had a guest from Vermont, but I guess there's a CPS, and I guess things are happening there in Vermont. What's going on?
Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about it here, and it's a tiny state, but it's the same as everywhere across the nation, as I've learned.
What's happened to you there?
Um, well, me and my husband have four daughters. One's 20 now. The next one will be 16 in September 14th. 12 September 13th, and 14 in October. And their names begin with L. I'm not going to say their names. So it's LLLL. And we moved here to Brattleboro, Vermont in 2012 of July. And I just had my last baby. And they got involved when one of my daughters went to check the mail, and we live on the highway, but I was right there, and her two little sisters followed her, and someone had called DCF. It's called DCF here, and I don't. It just went downhill from there. They weren't that bad at first, but then they were looking for stuff, constantly. And we had problems with our oldest daughter, just behavioral problems. So they really took advantage of that and took the three younger ones later, December of 2015. 2015. And what happened was I wasn't on drugs or anything. I had the flu. Do you remember speaking to me?
No.
I spoke to you once on the phone. I had the flu. I had a bad flu for about 3 weeks. In November.
Was this in 2015?
Yes.
Melanie, this is 2023.
Yeah.
I don't remember who I spoke to last week.
Oh, yeah, I spoke to you a few years ago.
Eight. How's 8, dude?
No,
8 years ago.
No, we spoke to you in between there.
Okay.
I don't expect you to remember me. I'm just saying I do remember speaking to you on the phone. Well, I had a bad flu in November of 2015, and I have the paperwork still. I had a temperature of 103.3 to 104 for about a month, and all clean drug test, and they said I was unsafe to be around my children.
Because of the flu or something else?
The fever, the high fever, because I went to the school and told them what was going on in case they wondered, because I was very ill. I was by myself. Me and my husband were temporarily separated. I was by myself, and they had no mercy. This was Academy.
Huh? I'm not licensed in Vermont, but in California, you can't take a child away because the parent's ill.
Yeah, my case is very ugly. It's the ugliest case anyone's ever seen here, unless they're just not talking about it. I don't know, but they do take a lot of children here. Considering it's a tiny state, there's a whole report on it. If you want that reporter's name, I can give it to you.
Please do. I would love to have. It's a newspaper reporter.
Oh, well, no, he's the Vermont Parent Representation Center. His name is Larry Christ. Larry Christ, Crist.
Okay, and he has a foundation out there or something?
Oh, yeah. He's not close to Brattleboro, but we did meet him once here in Brattleboro because I have a tiny little group. But he can back up what I'm saying about taking a lot of children here. I don't know why it's not more known. I think people like you didn't even know. Vermont, they think everything's great here, Green Mountain State, but they'll really treat some people terribly, and it's kept secret. I don't know. I don't understand how.
Okay, I just looked him up and I found him on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
He's the executive director of the Vermont Parent Representation Center. He's in Burlington, Vermont.
Yep.
And apparently he's a social worker. Did you know that? And not a working county social worker or state, but he went to school and I guess he got a degree in social work.
Oh yeah, he's done a lot of things. He's involved with the Red Cross, all kinds of things.
Do you think he'd like to be on the show?
He might. He came to our little group once, and he's done things since. I'm supposed to talk to some senators here, and I did try to get in touch with them. And I notice in Vermont they don't get back to you.
Well,
So,
you know, also it says that Larry is a lawyer. I think he got a law school degree from Tulane University.
yeah.
Do you know if he's practicing law there?
Do I know if he's practicing law?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The little bit that when I do talk to him, I know that he goes to court sometimes, but I don't think he's currently practicing law. And when I lost my case, he read. He was somehow able to get all of my material, and he couldn't believe I lost because I had so much support. I had so much support of a lot of people other than DCF in the school. The school people got my children.
Well, wait a minute. Your children were never returned to you?
No.
And were they adopted? Did you lose your parental
Yes,
rights?
they adopted them out, and they're separated in 4 different places.
How old are they now?
Lacey's 20. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't say last name. One of them's 20. The other one will be 16 in September. The other one will be 12 in September. And the other one will be 14 in September. I mean, October.
On the oldest one, who's 20, now she's an adult. Do you have any contact with her?
Yes. What happened was they could not terminate us with her. They tried right up until right before she turned 18. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, but they didn't get it. They did not get a termination. And we were visiting her regularly, and she was coming to the house, and we were still seeing her a little bit after she turned 18. And now she has just gone away on her own. And I think it's because of all the drama that happened. I really believe that because we had a good relationship. I mean, considering, and she loved her father. She loves her father. She's just away now. I heard that she went to college in Massachusetts. Oh, right before she turned 18, it was told to her that she cannot see us if she cannot see her sisters if she sees us. So it put a lot of pressure on her. And then I don't believe she sees them that often anyway, but I think it's a drama got to her. Just get away.
Yeah. Well, Melanie, let me ask you something because it's a very interesting story you're telling me. Why did they take your children away? I never did understand that.
Oh, Vermont. They really that's the part I don't understand why it's not more well known. They scrutinize you. Like if they got you, they scrutinize you until you allegedly fail, even though you didn't fail, because I was not on drugs. I own my own house. And when it comes down to it, the kindergarten teacher knew I was a vulnerable, and she got one of my daughters, and she's a same-sex couple, and they have more rights than us here. And she's the one who really pushed this. She got one of my daughters, the one that'll be 14 in October. So she only wanted one, and it gets uglier. So and my girls are beautiful. I know everyone says that about their own children, but mine really are beautiful. They got blonde hair and blue eyes, and the one the teacher wanted had thick blonde hair. It was and big blue eyes, just like her father. The father, you can't tell he has blonde hair now because he's in his 50s. But it was questioned on whether he was the father and all this gossip, nonsense, hearsay, rumors. It was like a witch trial. It was there was no evidence of abuse. We're not on any registry. It's called Child Protection Registry here, which is crooked in itself, but we're not even on it.
Why do you say it's crooked?
Oh, that's in one of Larry Chris reports. If you read it, they put everybody on there. Like someone can say you slapped your kid and you'll be put on there, and it's up to you to get off it. When there doesn't have to be evidence, and we're not even on that, which is crooked in the first place. But we're not on there. My husband fought that because the school therapist, the one that was with the kindergarten teacher, the school, they tried saying that all kinds of things that weren't true, all kinds of things that the father was forcing them to stand out on the porch with no coats in the wintertime. That wasn't true. Then they said we were starving them. That wasn't true because the doctor reports say they're all good weights. They're all healthy. And something about icy water, because I live across from the river, and there was nothing like that, like done, like stuff he'd be in jail for, putting them in the icy water, and that never happened. Nobody's seen it. We would go visit the water like everybody else. There's people at the river today. I'm going to go today when they're with their children. It was like really like sadistic type abuse. And we're not even on the registry. We're not even on the child protection registry or ever charged with anything like that. It was just the therapist at the same school that came up with this. And I don't know.
Do you have you ever thought about trying to talk to someone about what happened to you in the program? Or
Which program?
in the program of CPS?
Oh yes. We've we've talked to everyone. We had two trials. You were the one. I know you don't remember. It's okay. I was on the phone with you, and you couldn't understand why I still lost because we won the appeal in Montpelier, Vermont, to have a second trial because there was no evidence, and we still lost due to length of time. So we've had attorneys. I've had my little group. We were on local television. I've talked to everybody. I have therapists. I have people on my side. It's really, it doesn't make any sense to anyone except that the same-sex couple wanted my daughter, and she got her.
You think it was all related to that?
Yeah.
Were they related to the social workers at all?
No. No, I don't think so about that. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure there were bribes involved because they seem to have a lot of money. Um, and I heard through other people, I hate using hearsay like they do, but she had private investigators on me and stuff, and that cost a lot of money. And they could never find anything. I'm not doing anything wrong. Like,
Well, they
and
must have found something because you didn't get the kids back.
no, they use length of time. They use length of time here because a lot of people don't have whatever done in time. And I've been studying this, that they use length of time when you don't have like a home or this or that in time or treatment in time. The thing is, I didn't need anything. I already had everything, and they used length of time. And And they kept digging and digging and digging, and all they could come up with is that we didn't have the best childhoods. Like, they take whatever tiny little thing you say and weaponize it. I had to oh, the things I had to defend are even more ridiculous. So I don't know if you want to hear any of them.
Yeah, go ahead.
I drew my daughter's names in chalk. That's what they brought in for evidence. And that's it, nothing else. That's the piece of evidence. I drew their names in chalk, pink and blue, hearts and flowers. And I actually wanted to keep the picture of it, and they said no. And it proves that I'm stalking them. Because this was way in the beginning when I was still trying to visit them. DCF kept canceling. They kept canceling week after week. Oh, they did keep it going for a few months. And then they found reasons to cancel and cancel and cancel. And then I had people waiting with me. So, because they tried saying it was me not showing up, but they couldn't get away with that because I had people waiting with me. So, all they brought in for evidence, I swear, is the chalk drawings. I mean, there was no like doctor reports of abuse or neglect, nothing like that. And then they were picking on my house mostly. The gist of the thing is my house. My house isn't good enough. And there's a huge homeless crisis in Brattleboro, Vermont. And I've owned my house since 2012. Everything's running. It was insults and opinions. And then they said I was crazy. Oh, I'll tell you how it started. The kindergarten teacher diagnosed me as delusional because I had that high fever. Delusional and out of touch with reality. I could find her report somewhere. And by the time you prove you're not delusional and out of touch with reality, it doesn't matter. Because I did prove it. I had a doctor, Dr. Nicole Brisson, testify that I'm not delusional. And that I took a parenting test. I'm a good enough parent. So it was all on her report, the kindergarten teacher, and the nastiness of DCF here, because that's true. Larry Chris can back me up on that. They will nitpick you till you're gone. They'll nip if they want your kids, if you're targeted, because they don't want everybody's kids.
When you say nitpick, what do you mean?
Well, they nitpick me to death. I mean, things that had people can't believe they would bring them up, like insulting my house to death. I have an average house. Oh, and it does read homelessness but I have a house. So by the time you prove you have a house, which they know damn well anyway, they're trying to drive you crazy. And they picked on me for bringing my daughters to church. We went to church for 8 months every single Sunday, and they absolutely loved it. I found the videos on YouTube recently. They didn't want me bringing my daughters to church. It was First Baptist Church.
Did they actually tell you that they didn't want your daughters at church?
The school was stalking me, and I'm not crazy because it's in their emails. They were watching where I was going, and we don't know who's in there. It's mostly elderly people, and and Pastor Suzanne Andrews, who they loved. They absolutely loved her. Because there's a huge homeless problem in Brattleboro, Vermont, and there's homeless people hanging around on Main Street. So I don't fall into the tourist, and I don't fall into the homeless. So they can say whatever they want about you. I was just bringing my daughters to church and going to the park, the library. We were singled out. They wrote up the whole narratives about my life that I had to prove weren't true. I'm doing normal things. And yeah, if you could see on my Facebook, I have a pinned post of my daughters going to church. And it's the most important video to me. To anyone else it might not be. But
Did you say that your parental rights have been terminated?
Yes, because they use length of time. Because we had 2 trials, it was very lengthy.
Right. And then you said, did the foster parents adopt each child except for the
Yes,
oldest?
not they could not get the oldest. They tried though at the end, and it was such a waste of time. But they didn't get her. And yeah, the second oldest one was in like I'm guessing 4 or 5 homes. I'm not sure. The next youngest one was in over no, the one the teacher wanted stayed there. The one the kindergarten teacher wanted is the only one who stayed in the same house. And my youngest, who I feel the worst about, she was only 4. She was in over 10 homes. She was in over 10 homes while I'm at home this whole time. Not on drugs, not doing anything wrong. They were about to give my second oldest back. And my husband said they found all this problems like that weren't there, and my attorney, state appointed attorney, even caused problems, and she left and I got another one. It's almost like there was some kind of bribery going on, something really crooked behind the scenes. And I did learn on your videos, I mean, not just yours, I've been researching it, that they do work for the state, but I think there was also bribes from personal personal
That's a serious allegation. Do you have any evidence of that?
No,
Okay, well,
I don't have any evidence.
okay, well, that's kind of a very
I just
serious
know that, huh?
accusation to make. That's a very serious accusation to make without
Yeah,
any evidence, right?
right. But I just know that my daughters were taken on opinions and mostly insults. Mostly insults.
I wish I could see your review your file.
Okay.
I'd be very interested to look at your case. How
There's
many
no
years
abuse.
how many years has it been since your rights were terminated?
I think they were finally for good in 2019, because it took so long to the this and that status hearings, 2 trials, and then after that they wait so long to answer, like, so they use that as an excuse too, like, oh, it's been too long. So I believe it was 2019.
Okay. Seems like a year ago, 7 months ago, we had a woman on the show from San Diego who, after 5 years of her rights being terminated, she got her rights reinstated and got her child back after 5 years.
Mhm.
She never gave up, never gave up.
Mhm.
And are you still trying to right this wrong?
Oh yeah, and I firmly believe that that's what they count on here, because so many people go. They're the every most of the people that have their rights terminated are on heroin or whatever, and or they're really high on the drugs. They do give up. They do. I'm not on these drugs. I still have my house. I still have their cat. It hasn't been that long.
Are you currently working or retired?
Retired. No, the husband works. I was left money. I was left money. Oh, and that's another thing. They lied about us not having anything. And it was the girls, they had everything, basic needs. Like, they made it sound like they didn't even have toothbrushes, but they did. They had everything. I mean, I didn't spoil them materialistically. I want to think for the future. Anyways, I was left some money, and another inheritance came, uh and their father works all the time.
Okay, very good. Well, I want you to think about maybe writing a book. I can show you how. Um, to document your CPS journey and tragedies. Would you be interested in that?
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm going to do is after the show, I'm going to have Grace set up a phone appointment with me, and we'll help you start on that. I'm actually starting it with a couple other people as well, and I may turn this into a group seminar type of thing, where people that want to write and write about their book and or write about their story in a book format, and I can help you get it published on Amazon through self-publishing, because I think the more people know about these CPS problems, the more likely we might get help and changes in the law. Okay?
Hmm.
Melanie, before we go today, did you have any questions for me?
Oh, I was interested in the woman that got her rights reinstated. And another thing, have you ever heard of anything like my story, or
Oh, yes, all the time.
you do?
Yeah.
Opinions and insults?
Opinions all the time. Opinions all the time. And
Okay.
sometimes,
Do you?
sometimes those opinions by social workers are incorrect.
Oh, and it was teachers. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were
Okay.
playing doctor.
Right. And they shouldn't be. They're not qualified to.
Hmm.
Right. Hey, Melanie, I want to thank you for coming on today and sharing your story with us. Grace is going to get your contact information, and I'll contact you about helping you write that book to get your story out there. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, I just want to know about the woman that didn't give up after 5 years. She got her rights reinstated.
Got her rights reinstated and got the child back.
What
Now,
state was that?
California in San Diego County. Now, I have to confess to you that this is not something that normally happens, right? And
Right,
in her case, the stars had to align in the right way. But the key was she never gave up after 5 years. She never
right.
gave up. And she was constantly, going after it. And the reason why I know this, she came on the show and told us all this. The reason why I know is because she called me. She called me and told me the story and told me that she thought that she could get her rights back. And, I being, the person I was, I told her, I don't, I don't think that's going to happen. And she said to me, well, if you're not willing to take the case, do you know someone that I can hire? I mean, she was willing to pay me, and represent her. I thought I'd be just taking her money for nothing. Well, I referred her to someone who I consider a colleague, a friend, in this area of law, and he represented her in San Diego County, and they did get her parental rights back, and they did get the child back.
Hmm.
Unbelievable story. I really wanted her to tell her story and perhaps be a host on one of our shows on our platform. And I think she wanted to at first, but I think she, getting her child back after 5 years, there's a lot to do, a lot to catch up on. So I think she's busy being a mom, and more power to her. But if she ever decides, to come back or to share her story and her wisdom again, I would really, really like that. She, out of all the people I've ever talked to in over 30 years in doing these types of cases, this lady knew more about the law, the procedure, the evidence than anyone I've ever talked to who was a non-attorney. She
Yeah.
was really self-educated, and she went beyond what normal people would do. And how she educated herself. She said she looked at my videos. She said she looked at other people's videos. She said she did a lot of reading. But it was evident to me that she was very knowledgeable about what she was doing. And I
Hmm.
think I think that led to her being successful. And of course, the fact that she never gave up. A lot
Yeah.
of people would give up. I don't know if I wouldn't give up. I just don't know, because this type of thing, when you lose your kids, it's, it's devastating. It's devastating emotionally and psychologically. And I and I
Yeah.
I think there's a better way, but, it's not the law currently in this country or in California. Hey, Melanie, we've come to the end of the show, and I want to thank you again for being on. Grace is going to contact you, and we'll be talking about your book. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. Thanks again. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Also, I wanted to make a general announcement. Originally these weekend shows were at 9 o'clock, 9 a.m., and we changed it. But starting tomorrow, weekend shows are going to be back at 9 a.m. in the morning on Saturdays and Sundays. So Grace will be posting that. So when you see the posts and you see the shows on at 9 a.m., um, it's on at 9 a.m. So, Grace, I hope we have a guest lined up for tomorrow for 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 o'clock Eastern time. And I hope to see everyone tomorrow at 9 a.m. Goodbye and have a good Saturday, everyone.